Is there someone in your life you still can't forgive? Someone who said something cruel, who betrayed your trust, who broke something you could never get back. Most of us have had at least one experience like that. You want to forgive, but your heart just can't catch up. You tell yourself, it's over, it's in the past. But then out of nowhere, those words come rushing back. And there it is again, that dull ache you can't seem to shake. Does that feel familiar? Please don't blame yourself for not being able to forgive. Forgiveness is never simple. Today I'd like to share a story from 2,500 years ago, about one man. A man who lived inside his hatred, and somehow found a way to put it down. If that story can bring even a small light to your heart today, I would be so glad. There was a monk named Padakara who lost her entire family in a single day. Her 2 children drowned, her husband was killed, and her parents died in a house fire. She arrived at the Buddha's monastery covered in dust and grief, demanding to know why the world was so cruel. The Buddha didn't offer her explanations or reasons. Instead, he asked her to sit quietly and observe her own breath, her own heartbeat, the simple fact that she was still alive. In that stillness, something shifted. Not because her losses became acceptable, but because she stopped trying to justify her pain and simply let it exist beside her. Like a stone she no longer needed to carry. His name was Angulimala. He was at first a gentle and brilliant young man, born into a good family, studying under a respected teacher, loved by his peers. So how did a person like that become one of the most feared killers in the land? It began with his teacher's wife. She had fallen for him, but he, an honest and devoted student, turned her away. Hurt and bitter, she twisted the truth and went to her husband with a lie. That student of yours tried to attack me. The rage and grief of being betrayed by the man he trusted most, the unbearable pain of being accused of something he never did. His teacher gave him an impossible task. Cut the fingers from 100 people, weave them into a garland and offer it to me. Only then will you achieve enlightenment. Angulimala believed it. He was young, he was shattered. His teacher's word was the only solid ground he had left. And so he took up a sword. One by one he began to hurt people. Villages emptied at the sound of his name. The whole kingdom trembled. 99 fingers, just one more to go. Then, in the distance, he spotted a lone figure walking calmly down the road. It was the Buddha. Angulimala ran. He ran with everything he had, and yet he couldn't close the gap. The Buddha walked slowly, quietly, and still Angulimala could not reach him. Breathing hard, he shouted, "Stop, stand still." The Buddha turned around and said gently, "I stopped long ago. It is you who have not stopped." Those words pierced straight through him. All this time he had been running, inside the rage, inside the hatred, inside the wound. He was the one who couldn't stop. He dropped his sword on the ground and fell to his knees, weeping, and the Buddha received him, quietly, just as he was. Years later, monks would ask Angulimala how he found peace after such darkness, and he would simply say, "I stopped running." He became one of the Buddha's most devoted students, and people who once fled at his name now came to hear him teach, not about enlightenment gained through violence, but about the possibility of transformation that exists in every human heart. In the end, the garland he wore was not made of fingers, but of the lives he had helped heal. In this story, the Buddha never scolded Angulimala for what he had done. He never demanded to know why. He simply said, "It is you who have not stopped." There is something very deep in those words. Hatred is a strange thing. When we hate someone, we keep summoning them back, over and over, inside our own minds. The words they said, the things they did, we replay it, and replay it again. That means hatred is, in a way, choosing to keep living inside the past. Your body is here in this moment, but your heart is still frozen in that moment of pain. Like Angulimala, running as fast as he could, and going nowhere. In Buddhist teaching, this is called attachment. A simple way to put it, the inability to let go. Clinging to an old wound, clinging to anger at another person, clinging to the belief that what they did was unforgivable. And that clinging, it is quietly binding you. Forgiveness is not the same as pretending it never happened. It is not saying what you did was okay. Forgiveness means releasing that moment from your heart, saying, "I don't have to live there anymore. I don't have to be held there anymore." When Angulimala dropped his sword, what he truly let go of wasn't just a weapon. It was the anger, the resentment, the memory of being wounded, all of it carried for so long. The Buddha welcomed him because he believed something deeply. The human heart always has the power to change. No matter how heavy the past, you can begin a different path, starting right now. That is the most fundamental thing Buddhism sees in us, and this is why the Buddha's words to Angulimala were not a judgment, but an invitation, a mirror held up to show him that he was still running, still bound, still choosing that moment over and over. When Angulimala finally stopped running, he discovered something that no amount of punishment could have taught him, that the prison he had built was one he alone could leave. This is the teaching that changes everything, not because it erases what was done, but because it shows us that we are never trapped by our past, unless we choose to be. After that day, Angulimala became a student of the Buddha and walked the path of practice. But when he entered the villages, people threw stones. They cursed him. "The killer is here," they cried. He kept walking, in silence. The Buddha said to him, "You are receiving now what your past actions have brought. Receiving it quietly, that is what you can do today." Hearing that, I found myself thinking, forgiveness moves in two directions. One is forgiving someone else, letting go in your heart of the person who hurt you. The other is forgiving yourself, stopping the endless punishment of the self who once hurt someone else. In our daily lives, we face both of these constantly. When we're treated unfairly at work, when a close friend betrays us after years of trust, when a wound from a parent still hasn't healed, even decades later, or on the other side, when we can't stop punishing ourselves for the hurt we once caused someone else. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is not brushing something aside or erasing what happened. Forgiveness is giving yourself permission to say, "I don't have to stay in that place anymore." Here is one small thing you might try. The next time that person or that moment rises up in your mind, try saying quietly to yourself, "I'm not going to keep chasing you." If the word forgive feels too heavy, that's okay. Let go works, so does "you can go now," or simply "goodbye." The words don't matter. What matters is telling your own heart, "You don't have to stay tied to this." Just as Angulimala put down his sword, perhaps today there is something you too are ready to put down. Perhaps it is a resentment you've carried so long it feels like part of you. Perhaps it is shame about a choice you made years ago, when you were younger, when you knew less. The Buddha's words to Angulimala were not a promise that the stones would stop coming. They were an invitation to stop throwing them at himself. There is just one thing I want to leave with you today. Please don't blame yourself for not being able to forgive yet. Forgiveness takes time. A single story, heard once, is rarely enough to heal a deep wound. And that is perfectly okay. Angulimala didn't change in an instant either. Afterward, he walked for a long time, slowly, quietly, with stones being thrown at him. One step at a time. You don't have to forgive anyone today. Just hold this much. Maybe someday, there will come a moment when I can let this go. If you can carry that small opening into the rest of your day, that is more than enough. Hatred is the heaviest thing you will ever carry. Would you consider setting it down just for a moment, right here, on the ground? You have already carried it so far. You don't have to keep running. Thank you so much for being here with me today. You can pick it back up tomorrow if you need to. No one is asking you to abandon it forever, but right now, in this breath, in this room, you might discover what it feels like to stand without that weight. And that small discovery, that tiny taste of lightness, is enough to plant a seed